Three, two, one.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple, and this is your humble host, Hunter. Welcome back, guys. This is your first time listening. Thank you for taking the time. If you've been a fan for a minute, thank you again for your support. So, in case this is your first time, we went on a little bit of a hiatus here. We haven't really had a review since Harley Quinn Birds of Prey came out, so it's been about a month. And I'll be honest with you guys, I figure we should just address this now. With the whole coronavirus insanity going on right now, I really felt over last month, because you guys know this is not my full-time gig. This is the fun side gig. But doing this podcast and my main job, it's been a little stressful recently. And my lovely girlfriend Leia, she's been doing teaching, and she's been it's just been a very emotionally taxing time for a lot of people in my life right now. So I've been trying to be there for everyone and just do what I can, and I just kind of need a little bit of time away from this, just because of a lot of the moving pieces off mic that I've been working on and everything. So then this whole coronavirus thing hits, and it's just been insane, to say the least. I mean, if you guys have gone grocery shopping in the last 2 weeks, you know, you've seen the shelves are bare. People are freaking out. They're wearing masks heading into the store. I mean, it's pretty crazy right now. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but all I'm going to say is, guys, just wash your hands for Pete's sake. Like, do that, please. But above all else, guys, if you're a content creator, and this goes from, you know, anyone on YouTube, on Twitter, on you know, on podcast platforms, you know, Twitch, you know, any sort of content that you're creating that's bringing people joy, we really need that now more so than ever. So unless I get sick, which heaven forbid, and I'm not talking about coronavirus, just sick in general, just to kind of to address that. But we really need content creators out there more than ever. So if you guys are tired, if you're feeling stressed, I get it. I feel you. But we're all in this together, right? We'll all be okay. I'm sending out prayers to anyone who's been affected by this, anyone who's hit that level, just you're stressed out and fearful about this. I lived through Y2K to age myself a little bit. I remember being, 11 and hearing that the world was going to just shut down basically because we, weren't thinking about how much we need computers essentially. And, we got through that. We will get through this. To all those people who've been affected, if you're heading out and you're getting a drink or you're eating out, tip your waiter a little more generously if you can. The food service industry is getting hit hard right now. I got a lot of friends who are bartenders, so tip a little more considerately this time if you can, because we're all in this together and we all need to help out where we can. So God bless you guys, and I hope you're staying well, and I hope you've been well. So moving forward, guys, since they've pulled a lot of upcoming movie releases, like Fast and Furious, Fast 9 got bumped back a year. A Good Time to Die, that got pushed back. The new Bond film, that got pushed back to November. They haven't moved back Black Widow, because that comes out in about 6 weeks. I think Marvel will push it out, will try to hang in there as long as they can, and hope that there's a global solve for this coronavirus here sooner than later, because I know Marvel would hate to push this movie back. I unfortunately am of the opinion that I think Black Widow will get pushed back, and I think Wonder Woman 84 might get pushed back as well. I think Tenet might get pushed back, but I am hoping, praying for a very quick recovery on that. So with that said, guys, since there's really not going to be a lot of new films coming out, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dive into some of my favorite films from last year that maybe we didn't get a chance to review. So we'll have a review up for Parasite this weekend, and we'll have a review up for Just Mercy this weekend. And I'm going to collaborate with Colin because he's been out of town. So talk to him, and we will have we'll probably do our best of in April, since there's nothing really big coming out in April now. So, but this review, though, is for Sonic the Hedgehog, which I saw opening weekend and just hadn't had a chance to get a review up for it yet. So I'm really excited to actually talk about this. So, of course, we have to address the Hedgehog in the room. The original design that they had for Sonic the Hedgehog for this movie, with the first trailer they dropped. The trailer I thought was really good because it was set to Gangster's Paradise by Coolio, which is one of my favorite rap songs ever. And so hearing that song and how it was, went along with the footage, I thought it looked awesome. The big thing I didn't think looked awesome was the character design of Sonic, because he looked almost like a strung out teenager. Like, he just looked like Sonic looked so incredibly fucking creepy. And I'm a big Sonic fan, and if there's anything that's frustrating about being a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, it's that all these Nintendo fans, they've had Mario for so long, and they really don't make bad Mario games. I mean, think about it. What's like the worst Mario game? Maybe Super Mario 2? Maybe? Just because it wasn't originally supposed to be a Super Mario game, and yet Super Mario 2 is still awesome. It's frustrating because on the Sega fans and Sonic the Hedgehog is maybe my favorite game of all time. But when I think about just some of the terrible Sonic games that they've put out, I think about Sonic Racing, the '97 game. I could not stand that game. You think about something like Sonic 3D Blast, which was weird to play, frustrating to play. You would think for such a simple concept it would work better. I think of Sonic Free Riders, which was not fun. The original Sonic the Hedgehog, they put out the reboot they put out on Xbox 360. Hated that one. Sonic Labyrinth, which was for Game Gear. I had a Game Gear back in the day. Hated that one. And maybe my least favorite game, or at least maybe the least well done Sonic game they've done, would be Sonic Fighters. That was old school back on the Sega Saturn. So they've had a lot of misses with Sonic. So here and there doing this movie, you're of course going to go to the well or to the line of thinking of something like Detective Pikachu. Like, oh, if they can even get in the wheelhouse of Detective Pikachu, this will be a good film. And I am proud to say, for me, they definitely got in the wheelhouse of Detective Pikachu with how they went ahead and portrayed this. So the movie starts off with Sonic, and he's very much doing that. Why am I blanking on the girl? Carrie from Sex and the City. I know it's a random reference, but he's doing the Carrie from Sex and the City. Peter Parker, Spider-Man. He's very much self-monologuing his own life. He's narrating the film. And I think the film actually works well for how it's told. They cut to a scene early on in the movie where Sonic looks like he's in dire straits. He's being chased by Dr. Robotnik, and he basically goes, "Oh, I bet you wonder how I got this point." Then it fast forwards, and we start off with him as a kid or younger, back in Green Hill Zone. Which, again, as a Sonic nerd, seeing Green Hill Zone, if there's a complaint about the movie, it's not really even a complaint. Green Hill Zone looks so beautiful. They even show him running around the loop, doing the loop on the stage, and the bridges even crumble like it did in the original game, and it's such a great Easter egg right out the gate. Even before the movie, you even see a frame of the film. The film starts off. It makes a Sega noise. You don't hear them say Sega, but the noise is very recognizable to Sonic nerds like myself. So the movie starts off pretty sad, actually. So Sonic is a kid. He's hanging out with his mom, Longjaw, who's an owl, which I'll be honest, I don't recall that in the game, so maybe that's something I just don't recall, but they don't establish, why a hedgehog is being cared for by an owl, but, what are you, what are you gonna do? But then they get ambushed, and Longjaw gets killed, and in a surprisingly kind of brutal way for a kids' film. And it's going to sound so dark, but I appreciate the fact that there are kids' films that are going to take this shit a little more seriously. I mean, and not shy away from death, because you see Sonic, Lockjaw basically gives him his rings and says, "Hey, you need to run." They're attacked by the I want to say I'm saying this right. The Shindas, who of course, as you know, Knuckles the Shinda. So I assume we're getting Knuckles in the third game. That's what I would or the third movie, because this is cleaned up. This is done very well, and so we're getting a sequel. So if you hate this movie, there will be more Sonic in the near future. But I love the opening of this because it does set some stakes. And so when Lockjaw, Longjaw, why am I saying Lockjaw? I'm thinking of Britt Baker's finishing move for some reason. But when Longclaw gives Sonic the rings are actually used as like a little, like they can teleport to different worlds. And I went, for this movie, that's a surprisingly, it's a simple way to explain what the rings do, but at least it gives them more value than just being rings and, not getting hit. So I actually really appreciate that. I love the very simple thing, but a very necessary thing to give the rings some weight. So he ends up landing in the town of Green Hills, Montana, which I definitely called my parents and laughed at them about, because it's just this town in the middle of nowhere, like most of Montana. And it was really funny to see that of all the places Sonic would land, it would be here. And in Green Hills, Montana, that's my Montana accent, that's where Sonic goes ahead and meets Tom Wachowski, I want to say is how you say it, who's played by James Marsden. So let's talk about James Marsden for a second, because this movie, when I heard they were making a Sonic movie, my first instinct was, oh god, why are they doing that? But, and also because James Marsden, the last time he was in a movie like this, or that similar to this, where he's acting opposite of a CG character, it was that movie Hop. And I think Hop is fucking atrocious. I can't stand that movie. He played Fred O'Hare, and they make multiple O'Hare jokes with the Easter Bunny, and I remember just thinking, God, this needs to stop. The chemistry between Tom and Ben Schwartz, and Ben Schwartz voicing Sonic, first off, I didn't recognize his voice at all. I have to give him a lot of credit for that, because now I fully admit I'm always listening for John Ralphio's voice. I know he doesn't talk like that, but he really is a comedic actor I really like. That movie Turbo, with Ryan Reynolds, where he plays the snail, he played Skidmark in that. I thought he was actually really funny in that. Even smaller stuff, like something like The Interview, I think he's been great. Of course, we talk about Parks and Rec as John Ralphio. I just think Ben Schwartz has incredible comedic timing, and of course, he's on the new version of DuckTales, which I've actually watched and really enjoy. So, and then I think about House of Lies too. Oh my god, I'm going down this list. He's done a lot of stuff I've liked. I really dig Ben Schwartz, and he could have taken this very not seriously. He could have just been like, I feel like a lot of people can do in comic book films, just kind of going whatever. I don't care. But he really does give a damn about this character, and it shows in his voice work. And him and James Marsden play off each other so incredibly well. So once Sonic lands in Green Hill Zone, he basically sets off an anomaly that the government goes ahead and picks up on a satellite. Sonic is playing baseball by himself, and I think that's something about this movie that works, because I've read some reviews and heard some reviews about people who found Sonic annoying, but the movie does a good job of establishing that Sonic's been by himself for a long time. They don't say how long, but I would probably venture a couple years. So My day job, I'm going to be working from home for at least the next 2 weeks. I'll tell you right now, I'm a little terrified about working from home just because I won't get to get a lot of social interaction. So it's going to be a lot of movies and a lot of reviews to keep myself from going crazy. So I'll sit there watching going, damn, I feel bad for Sonic. And they do have those, those sitcom uh, points where he kind of sighs and looks up at the sky and he's thinking about his mom, but it's really sweet, and I actually thought those scenes worked. But basically, off because he hits a home run off himself, he runs the bases, rounds them, and he just starts gaining speed, and it's a really cool scene because it shows how quick Sonic is. Also, it shows that you feel that grief that Sonic has. So as he's running the bases, yeah, he's having fun, but he also has in that moment realizes, oh man, it'd be crazy if I could just play baseball with someone, actually throw me the ball instead of me throwing it to myself. And so he's kind of running out of his anger and then sets off this anomaly. And so the government goes, oh, well, there's an anomaly, you can't have that. And so they send Jim Carrey's Dr. Robotnik, and I have to say, Jim Carrey is one of my favorite actors. He's been one of my favorite actors for a while. Of course, everyone goes to, Ace Ventura, obviously. But, I think about, not just Ace Ventura and Ace Ventura When Nature Calls, of course. The Cable Guy is one of my favorite movies. I love him in The Cable Guy. I think he is absolutely brilliant in that role. I loved him in Truman Show. I love him in Myself and Irene. He was great as Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon. You look at something, of course, like Eternal Sunshine. I think Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, I think his version of Count Olaf, I think it's pretty underrated, even though I think Neil Patrick Harris did as great of a job, if not better. But the last maybe decade, Jim Carrey's done some stuff I haven't been super in love with. I didn't love the Disney's A Christmas Carol. I didn't think Yes Man was very good. Number 23, I was not a fan. I know I'm going a little back past the last decade. The Incredible Burt Wonderstone I thought was stupid. Mr. Popper's Penguins wasn't good. Kick-Ass 2 was a piece of shit, but he was the best thing about it. So it's nice to get kind of 90s-esque Jim Carrey back, because of course he has been, doing some great political art and all that, but it seems like he's very much intentionally stepped out of the public eye and isn't working as much. So it's really cool to see him to see him back. If you guys haven't been watching Kidding, I would really recommend watching it. The first season is up until the 31st of this month on Amazon Prime Video, so go ahead and watch that if you want to watch it for free. But Jim Carrey is at his probably Jim Carreyest here. There's a whole dance scene with Robotnik where he's just dancing at the fact that he knows he's going to get Sonic. And I can't remember what song he's dancing to, but damn it, I was in the theater just dying. I was like, wow, he's just feeling himself. And the great thing about Robotnik, and like I said, I saw this opening weekend, so I'm blanking on a lot of the jokes, but he made this one joke in particular. I remember I looked over at Leia, and I was like, oh my god, that's a dark joke. He talks about, I'm paraphrasing, but he tells Sonic, like, oh, like, you wouldn't be the first animal the government has performed experiments on. And I was like, wow, that is a dark joke for a kid's film. But I laughed, and there's a lot of stuff in here. Not a lot, but it's a good amount of stuff in here that I think kids are going to definitely laugh at. But there's a couple adult jokes, more grim jokes. I went, oh, I'm like, all right, movie, that's completely fine. It keeps the movie moving too. And I will say, this movie, it's just a road trip movie. No more than no less, really. But this is not something terrible like Disney's College Road Trip, that movie with Martin Lawrence and Raven-Symoné. This never feels torturous. Honestly, this always feels fun. And I fully admit my bias because, again, Sonic the Hedgehog fan here. But they really do a good job of keeping the chemistry between Tom and Sonic going. If there is a complaint, there are a couple. Tika Sumpter, who plays Maddie, that is Tom's. I don't think they're married yet. I think that's just his girlfriend. But the last thing I saw her in was Nobody's Fool, was that Tyler Perry movie, and so I was really like, oh god, really? She, oh yeah, she's done a lot of Tyler Perry movies. She did Think Like a Man. No, that's not Tyler Perry. She did a Medea Christmas. Ugh. She did Nobody's Fool. Yeah, that's two. Oh, she's on the haves and the have-nots. God, come on, girl, be better. But Maddie and Tom, for the few scenes they do share together, I think their chemistry really works. And I know people say you probably see if you're going to make this point, I think we do see a lot less. Actually, I know we do. We see a lot less of a black guy dating a white girl in mainstream cinema. But as someone who's been in bars and seen a white guy come in with a black woman, just have black guys stare at him, I give the movie a lot of credit for even having this relationship in here. And they even kiss. So I was like, whoa, that is progressive. Good for you. But I thought their chemistry was actually really sweet. And this movie does a good job of kind of balancing the two, quote, conflicts, in the sense of Sonic, of course, is lonely. He's just looking to be loved, just have a best friend. Tom is going ahead and he's going to transfer to I can't remember what the position is, but he's working he's working at the San Francisco Police Department. He's about to transfer there because he's been saying, there's no action here in Green Hill. I want to go ahead and kind of push myself a little bit, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and I think that is kind of a gripe I do have, is the movie kind of gives him a guilt trip in a way, and went, well, if he wants to go ahead and do better, don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't go ahead and guilt him because he's trying to leave his hometown. But the movie really does kind of harp on the fact that, his dad was a cop, and his dad was a cop, and the family's been here for generations, and they really do harp on that. So I did find people trying to go ahead and kind of guilt him into staying. I wasn't crazy about that. That really did irk me if I'm sitting back kind of thinking about it. So that's one thing I have an issue with. The other thing I definitely have an issue with is near the end of the movie, because they end up in San Francisco. So the way that Sonic ends up in San Francisco is that when he's running from the Enchindas, he goes ahead and drops his rings accidentally, and they land on a skyscraper in San Francisco. So he has to go ahead and get to San Francisco. He has no idea where San Francisco is, so then he goes ahead and recruits Tom, like, hey, help me. And I will say, because that is a plot hole a lot of people would probably try to jump on, is, oh, well, why does he need Tom? Sonic has no idea. He even tries to run to San Francisco, and he ends up in the Pacific Ocean or the Atlantic Ocean. It's really funny, and so you go, all right, well, he tried to find San Francisco, couldn't find it. Shit. Okay, so Tom has to take him. Bit flimsy, but at least it was a reason that they actually addressed. So I will give them credit on that. There's a lot of Easter eggs in this movie too. Sonic reads the Flash, which I thought was just a really cool, wink wink nudge nudge cameo. Even the blur effect that Sonic has when he's running, it's very similar to the CW show. When the Flash is actually running, he kind of leaves the gold and red streak behind him. It's the same thing with Sonic. He just leaves a blue streak, like the Martin Lawrence movie. Ha ha ha. But I thought the effect was actually really well done. So there's that. Also, there's a scene where Sonic is playing. He's using nunchucks, and the tabletop, or this road sign he's using as a coffee table, it says Hill. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the name of the Hilltop Road? There you go. And of course, Hilltop is the Hilltop Zone is the first zone in the second Sonic movie. Gosh, I am just stumbling over Hilltop Zone right here, but I thought that was a cool Easter egg. And then he actually has the headband that has the Green Hill, the logo from the original Sonic on it, which I thought was a very nice touch. And Something that I didn't think about that I realized they never established in canon is what hand Sonic is. So Sonic actually says he's a southpaw, which I went, oh, okay, that fair enough. It was just, I mean, no reason for them to really address that if they didn't have to address that. But I thought it was cool. They went, well, all right, this has been kind of disputed amongst fans. Here you go. A lot of the action stuff works really well for me. The very end battle, and I'm kind of trying to stay away from spoilers, but the last battle he beats Robotnik in the most Sonic way possible. It's very much how you beat Robotnik in a boss battle during the games, and I really appreciated that. I thought that was really funny, but cool too, because it's very much like the game. Sonic has these old sneakers he's wearing when he transports to our world, and his shoes never change until the very end. And the way he gets his shoes, I was sitting there next to Alea and OJ, and I won't even lie, I started tearing up because she looks this little black girl looks at him and goes, "Oh man, your shoes look like in bad shape. Let me like," and she kind of leaves, and you go, wait, like, what's going on? And I remember sitting there thinking, if she gets in those damn shoes, I'm gonna start crying. And it's such a cute scene. So I will spoil that one thing. But this movie, though, for something that I was not dreading, that's too strong, but for something I was very concerned about the quality of it, because let's think about all the video game movies that they have just screwed the pooch on. I mean, oh God, Dragon Ball Evolution immediately comes to mind. I think about something like the second Mortal Kombat. First Mortal Kombat's fun, I don't care what anyone says. You think about, Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li, which is a horrendous fucking movie. It's so upsetting when you think about, House of the Dead, that is a bad one. Double Dragon, I forgot they made a double. So I used to actually watched that as a kid. I thought it was so cool back in the day, but I remember I watched it once, and maybe it was a second time, but I remember as a kid even, it didn't take me a long time to realize this movie sucks. And if you guys haven't seen Prince of Persia, it's not good. So this is, for me, oh God, Max Payne too. So I'm just like sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. I have a lot of respect for people actually making this work. The guys, the people who wrote this were Jeff Fowler, who has no real filmography. He's done really nothing, and Patrick Casey, who looking through his screenwriter credits, it's a lot of just direct to video or just unknown things. So really not a pedigree behind either guy. And as far as the director on this, the director was Jeff Fowler, and he directed this movie called The Goon and Gopher Broke. Again, two things I've never heard of. So this guy has really done a whole lot of just really unknown stuff. So for him to step in and do such a great job with this, I give the man a lot of credit. So this clearly sets up a sequel. The amount of money that this film has made definitely sets up a sequel. There are two post-credit scenes. There's one that... So the first one I thought was genuinely brilliant because I'm trying so hard not to spoil. How do I put it? Where characters end up make sense for where they're going for the sequel. There we go. That's what I can say. Sonic is just really engaging to me. It's made me really happy that this movie has just been doing so well and people are connecting with it. I have some friends that have kids, and they've taken them to see it, and they've really been happy with how fun the movie's been. So I'm happy people are enjoying this because, again, I'm a Sonic nerd. I'm just stoked. I'm really stoked they just did not screw this up. Thank God. So yeah, we're probably getting more Sonic. But as far as a grade, the last thing I will say, this did just cross 300 million. The budget on it was between I'm seeing about between 81 and 95. So, I mean, we talk about that bad design that they originally had for Sonic. Fans freaked out, myself included, and the Paramount went back to the drawing board and went, okay, we got to fix this. So I give them a lot of credit for checking their egos at the door and realizing they need to go ahead and make this right. And so they did. It paid off. So props to them. I did mention the fact I didn't like the way that they harp on Tom for wanting to leave. The big thing, and if I'm gonna give DC shit for this, I gotta give this movie shit for it too. It pulls a Man of Steel where they are just destroying the hell out of the city, and there's no cops or government really on the scene or anything. It's very confusing. I just didn't like it how Sonic and Robotnik are just destroying this town. And they're kind of going, it's fine, whatever. Very irritating when I think about it. Also, they love Olive Garden in this movie. They keep name dropping and having product placement for Olive Garden. They don't do it like a Michael Bay, whorish amount, but the amount of times they do it and in the fashion they do it, I went, I really don't like that. So those mild criticisms aside, when this comes out on Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, because I'm that guy. When it comes out on 4K Blu-ray, I'll buy it first day. If Best Buy has a steelbook for it, I will have the steelbook. I just enjoyed this so much, and I was really happy for Pokemon fans when Detective Pikachu came out. I'm a Pokemon fan, but I'm more of a casual fan. Like, after the original 151, I know a couple, but I just didn't keep track in that sense. But Sonic, I've always been such a fan of. I love Sonic Pinball. I actually just bought Sonic Mania on a PS4, and man, that's just been a fun return to what I love about the character. And this movie, very much in that same vein. There are a couple complaints about it, but if you don't at least enjoy this, I'll be honest, I don't really know what you expected or what you wanted. And when I think about those movies where we have a character, a famous, cartoon enter our world, this could have been the Smurfs so fucking easily, and it wasn't. So I'm very grateful for that alone. So for me, this is a solid, I'm gonna give this a solid A-. I think that's fair. With the few gripes I have, I would give this an A-. I thought this was a lot of fun. You can take your kids, and I think your kids will have fun. Just off of the pretty colors alone, this movie does work. So, yeah, solid A-. Solid A- for me. But, guys, what did you think about Sonic the Hedgehog? What's your favorite Sonic game? I would actually love to know people's thoughts on that. For me, it's still the original, just because I remember discovering how to do the stage select as a kid, and I remember freaking out. I was like, what did I do? What did I do? Yeah, up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, up, down, left, right, ABC, and then the start button at the same time. I believe that's what the code was. That sounds right. But anyways, guys, what is your favorite Sonic game? Let us know in the comments below. You can follow us on Crazy. By the way, we added another streaming service, so now we are on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, believe I said Spotify, but Spotify and iHeartRadio. Now at The Real Pineapple. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you want us to review. If you have a special request, we can always go ahead and fit that in. And you can go ahead and follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. You can follow Scott and Colin on Twitter at Nearmanthefirst. That's Nearman the first, and The Real, that's REEL O'Neill. And go ahead and like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. Guys, thank you so much for your patience as I, got back into the groove. I'm so grateful for all you peeps who listen. We'll have reviews up this weekend, as I mentioned, for we'll have a review up for Parasite, and I'm gonna have a review up as well for Watchmen. I'm gonna get into Watchmen this week. I've been hearing how great it is. I need to dive into it, so I'm gonna have a review up for that as well this upcoming weekend. Thank you so much, guys, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.